Alright, so today we're going to do the air and cabin filter on a ML350. They're pretty much all the same, the trucks, or they call them the trucks. The air filters are fairly easy to get off. The cabin filter easy. It's the same for the R class. Most of the MLs, it's very similar. So it's something you should do basically once every 2 years. At least pull them out and look at them, and then go from there. So it's pretty easy. All you have to do is just basically take these screws out. These are just these, we already basically pre-took them out a little bit. And they're pretty nasty. I mean, these things are, you know, and that's only after a couple of years. So typically, just basically have to shake it out. Do one side at a time, you don't get confused, unless you do it every day. We use the German brand, Hanks. You can use any brand. Typically I wouldn't use Chinese. Basically you can see the difference. So anyways, basically just pop them in there. The biggest issue is to make sure that on the edges that you're in the filter. So you just got to make sure you're in there, because otherwise the dirt and stuff gets in there, and then that's not good. It gets into the engine. So you just have to work it in a little bit. You can tell it's in. Hang on, it's not in. When it's okay, so you just got to make sure it's all the way in. So you can actually use your finger, just run it around the edge, and you'll feel if it's not in the right, you'll feel like a little bloop, a little bump. Just go all the way around, and you'll see it has to be in. So just take a good look at it, or look down the edge, down the side. This side's a little bit high. That's it. So we're in good shape. Basically, then you just put it back on. The screws stay with there. You don't have to take the screws out. Normally, you would want to shake this out a little bit. Basically, just make sure you install it the right way on the right side. You can't really screw up. The screws won't fit on the other side. These face forward. We use a little electric gun. You may have to use it by hand. Don't over tighten them. We have a little thing there. And basically, that's that. We're going to do the other side real quick. We don't really recommend the Chinese filters. They don't fit correctly. These things have to fit tight to seal out the dirt, basically. I always have a problem on this little inner side, but you can see when it's all the way in. It'll be uniform all the way around. Alright, so we just duplicated what we did on that side. On this side, just make sure the filter's in. That's the biggest issue. Alright, so these come off. It's not tricky, but you just got to be careful. Normally we put a little bit of silicone spray on these areas because I'm a little rubber buffers. Again, you don't have to. It just makes it kind of pop on easier. Even on this, don't really want to spray in there, but you can give it a little, makes it pop on easier. These just go over. If you see in the back of the motor, there's a little hook. Some cars have them, some cars don't. That big clip here, this one right here. Okay, so you'll get some models that won't have it, because this air filter setup is pretty much for almost all the cars except like the super new ones with these twin filters. That's a, you know, the 6-cylinder. Obviously the 4-cylinder doesn't have it, but any of the V8s or the 6-cylinder, the V6 engines all have basically in general the same air filter, so it's the same idea. And then basically you're just going to pop this in there. You're just going to line up the thing, pop it on, and it just basically just pops on. Just make sure in the back here that you're on the the thing. So just make sure that that air filter is around the mass meter. It's on this one, it's kind of a pain, but you can feel it. Did you hear it pop down? Okay, if it's not on the mass meter, it'll cause problems. Then you just take that back clip and you just pull it forward and flip it on. That's it. That's it. It's not that big a deal. The air filter in the front, there's just one thing we take off here. That's just the air pump inlet. And just the arrow, that's the only thing you got to remember. And you'll feel when this goes out in the back, if that clip's not going on very easy, then you're not on. Pull it back off, keep screwing with it, you'll get it. The snorkels, left and right is pretty easy. Again, they all have the same setup. Alright, so these things are kind of a little fiddly thing, so just kind of make sure you stick them on there. They just basically just pop on by hand. Okay, then we just have this last cover. Again, we just use silicone spray on all this little stuff here, these little rubbers here, you can see them. That way you're not going to be breaking them, and it doesn't really hurt anything. We put them on the metal everywhere. The way it just pops on there. This. So basically it just slides in and pops down. So you're just going to line it up. Slide in and pop it down. And that's it. We'll usually wipe. Alright, when you're done, just kind of wipe the thing off. Okay. And that's pretty much the air filter. Okay. Alright, so next is the cabin filter. Basically you're just going to pop these clips up. Okay. This thing is going to slide straight up and out. It's just got these two things here and this. The filters are in here. They're kind of a little bit funky to get out. You have to kind of slide them to the side and kind of pinch them. They don't have a metal frame, so it's actually fairly easy to get out. We've seen worse than this, so it's not too bad. These are the new ones. They have an arrow for the airflow. Obviously the air is going down into the car, so it's coming out, it's going in here, through here, into the car. The arrows, just follow the arrows. So you put the first one in kind of on an angle, and you have to kind of squish it in there. So you're going to basically put it in. You can squeeze these around so they're not going to fall in by themselves like the air filter. You kind of adjust them in there, and it is kind of a pain. Okay, and then you just kind of fandangle them in there. You can see when they're in there correct. You can see the slots. Most of the air filters and cabin filters are the same way. Some of them are inside the cars, but on the MLs, R-Class, most of them, and they're pretty much from 2000, 5, 6, all the way back to like 96, 97, it's the same thing, or very similar, so it's not too difficult. You should be changing these on a fairly regular basis. If you're going to change them, we always use the charcoal ones, and these just basically go in. It just pops on. You don't really need any per se special tools, so it's not that hard. It's easy to do. Just don't buy the Chinese stuff. Just buy, it's going to cost you whatever, let's say $100 for both filters. Just buy them. You can buy them online through the stores. Just the German brand, we use the charcoal. You can use the paper if you want. If you want to spend, $10 less. And that's pretty much it. So that's just a quick thing that you should be checking. You can save yourself some money by doing this. Basically, you can do that. Then all you would do is an oil change and a brake fluid service, and basically that's an inspection. Less of running through the computers and doing a printout. So that's what we normally do for a service. So it's not a super big deal on the basic, B services, the general service. But these should be checked fairly often. Often meaning once every couple of years. And obviously, if you live in an area where you're, sandstorms and stuff like that, Palm Springs or whatever, then you should do it more often. But other than that, that's it.